Hello and welcome back to Football Pie. As you can see, we're feeling very festive here and reminiscent of the past year gone by.
Yeah, in true end of year style, we are going to be looking back at 2016, picking out our best bits, some of our not so best bits, all the most important stories, heroes, villains. What else have we got in store?
Honourable mentions like goals and funnies, those kind of little tilly bits you might have forgotten about.
Yeah, all those bits that make the year what it is.
So let's get on with it. We start the year's stories with possibly one of the saddest, which is the death of the legend that was Johan Cruyff on the 24th of March of this year after losing his battle with lung cancer.
Yeah, very sad, and there is no doubt about it that Johan Cruyff is one of the absolute all-time legends of the game. As a player, he was a key figure in the legendary Netherlands and Ajax teams of the 1970s, and was arguably even more influential as a manager, taking charge of Barcelona in the late 80s, taking them to their first ever European Cup in 1992, and also sowing the seeds for massive success by reforming the now legendary La Masia academy system, which has produced, as we all know, some of the modern greats of the game. The list of players and managers that he has influenced over the years is a very long one, but I'm willing to give it a go. Louis van Gaal, Arsene Wenger, Jurgen Klopp, Andres Iniesta, Lionel Messi, Frank Rijkaard, Louis van Gaal, already said Louis van Gaal,
Pep Guardiola.
Pep Guardiola, of course, Pep Guardiola. And yeah,
Joey Barton.
Joe Barton, how could I forget?
How could I forget?
But yeah, as you can see there, that's not even half of it. You can see that, yeah, although it's a very sad loss. His influence on the game and his footballing spirit will live on for many years. And on to Brighton news. In May, Leicester City, managed by Claudio Ranieri, wrapped up a historic Premier League title, the first in their history, only 2 years after winning the Championship to be promoted to the English top flight.
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey for Leicester, as in, you know, coming up, nearly going down, and then 5,000 to 1 odds, winning the Premier League. Only the 6th team ever to do so, only losing 3 times in the process and ending up 10 points clear at the top of the table by the end of it.
Pretty amazing. Much of the success over the year had to do with the ruthless combination of Jamie Vardy and Riyad Mahrez, who scored 35 league goals between them, and also the marvellous defensive shielding of N'Golo Kante, who made a table-topping 175 tackles over the course of the season. But of course, this was really a team effort, wasn't it? And is one of the absolute biggest stories of not only this year, but of recent years in English football. So, yeah, big up Leicester.
Our next story involves the one and only Cristiano Ronaldo, who had a summer to remember after winning the Champions League and the European Championships all in the space of a couple months, putting himself on the immortal status as a footballer, kind of pipping his arch nemesis, his rival, Lionel Messi.
Yeah, indeed. Even forcing Lionel Messi effectively to come out of retirement after his own failings in the Copa America. Shout out to Chile, by the way, for winning that. But yeah, a real summer to remember. Perhaps the defining summer of Ronaldo's career. Scored the winning goal in the Champions League final. Well, scored the winning penalty in the Champions League final in the shootout against Atletico, and then went off heroically with injury in the Euros final, only to then push the Portugal manager Fernando Santos out of the way for the last 20 minutes and assume the manager's role in shouting the players, willing the players on to win. Who knows, he may even have had an effect in those dying moments.
Who knows?
But all in all, a year of glory.
Yeah, all tipped off by the Ballon d'Or at the end, just to solidify the great year that he's had.
Yeah, well done CR7.
We're staying at the Euros for our next story after England had another fantastic international competition.
I hate Iceland! I hate Iceland!
But keeping the British flag flying was Chris Coleman's majestic Wales team.
Yeah, Wales put in some fantastic team performances as they made it all the way to the semi-finals, where they were unfortunately knocked out by Portugal, but big shout out to them for some fantastic performances, especially Hal Robson-Kanu, Aaron Ramsey and Joe Allen, who among others put in some career-defining performances on the field. Big shout out to them.
Another one for Ireland and Northern Ireland. Once again, neighbours of ours, showing their gut, putting some grit in, and doing the countries proud.
Exactly.
It would be nice to see for us for once, but what can you do?
Now, it wouldn't quite be a year in football without a crazy transfer saga now, would it?
As a City fan, I have no clue what you're on about.
Well, let me enlighten you. In the summer, the already very inflated transfer market got that little bit more crazy as Manchester United blew open the safes to splash out on Paul Pogba. £89 million, a world record transfer fee to bring him back to Old Trafford.
After £1 million that you sold him for?
Indeed. I will accept that.
Horrible return, isn't it?
But nevertheless, it was a big statement, perhaps United's biggest statement since the post-Ferguson slump. Although I would say, more importantly, it gave birth to one of the most totally rad marketing campaigns in football history. Paul Pogba linking up with his main man, Stormzy, pulling off some pretty funky moves for the Adidas promotion campaign, which came out just after he signed. Would you not agree?
It was sweet as.
It was sweet as. Wayno quote right there. Also, the move meant that the French midfielder linked up with his old pal Jesse Lingard, and they were finally able to combine their dabbing powers together.
Yeah, I haven't seen a combination, coming back like that, reuniting like that since Luke and Darth Vader managed to take out the Emperor.
I could not have put it more perfectly myself. That
combination of the dab, both of them dabbing together. It's way too powerful.
Yeah. May the force be with you.
As we kicked into the new football season, Sam Allardyce managed to make a tit out of himself after being sacked or resigning from the England job 67 days after getting the appointment, after helping a friend.
I'm just waiting for a mate.
Yes, and the mate in question in this instance was Scott McGarvey, old friend of Sam Allardyce and also business associate. They were both caught with their trousers around their ankles by Telegraph reporters posing as businessmen and needling a few saucy details out of them, didn't they? Asked them a few questions, and Sam spilt the beans, undermined FA authority on transfer policy, and the rest is history. What a plonker, eh? Dream job.
Plonker.
And he just goes and throws it all away, just like that. Also, got to mention taking the piss out of Roy Hodgson, calling him Moy. No one does that.
Yeah.
He might have messed up this summer, but
at least he went to a tournament, Sam.
Exactly.
At least he went to a tournament.
But having said that, Sam can leave holding his head high, as he is the only manager in history, or only England manager at least, to have an 100% record, 1 win from 1. Good on you, Sam. So from an English footballing idiot to an English footballing legend, as we waved goodbye to the one and only Steven Gerrard at the end of November, the ex-Liverpool and England captain announced his retirement after leaving LA Galaxy, and he left behind him a stellar career. 114 caps for England, 38 of those as captain, and he also made the PFA Team of the Year a record 8 times.
Yes, and for Liverpool he had 748 appearances, scoring 191 goals in that time.
Not bad.
Yeah, he won 3 League Cups, 2 FA Cups, 1 UEFA Cup and a Champions League. But I think he probably will be remembered for that instrumental slip that lost him the Premier League.
Yeah. Unlucky, mate. But all jokes aside, some absolutely amazing moments as well. Turned the side round that night in Istanbul. A year later, saved the side once again in that classic FA Cup final against West Ham.
Yep, the Gerrard final.
Indeed, that goal will go down in history. Absolute belter. And yeah, it will be an absolute loss to the game. He's already gone into punditry like many of the people before him, but it is pretty certain that he will be returning to his beloved Reds in a coaching role sooner rather than later. So Liverpool fans can look forward to that, just as United fans did when Giggs retired. So yeah, all rosy for you guys.
The end of the year took a very dark and serious tone when a number of ex-professional footballers had revealed that they very bravely revealed, should I say, they have been abused at youth level by their clubs. These are very high-profile clubs, such as Crewe Alexandra and Chelsea, to name a few.
Yeah, and that is only a few. Really shocking news, and to date it is estimated that about 148 clubs across the leagues, right from the top down to the bottom, are affected by this scandal. The news first came out in late November. Andy Woodward and Steve Waters both came out saying that they had been abused at Crewe by already convicted Barry Bennell. And it has got even worse since then. It is now estimated to date that there are 429 potential victims and 155 potential suspects. But big respect to everyone who has come out since those first claims were made, and thoughts go out to anyone else who has been affected, who has come out about it or hasn't yet.
And things took a darker turn earlier this month when a plane carrying the Chapecoense team on their journey to their Sudamerica final crashed in Colombia, killing 71 people, 19 being players and club staff.
Yeah, really tragic news. To make things even worse, Chapecoense were having an absolute fairy tale season. The Copa Sudamerica final was their first ever in their history, and they'd also achieved their highest ever league position in the Brazilian domestic league. In retrospect of the crash, they were awarded the cup, but it will take a long time for the club to rebuild itself, both on the field and also emotionally. Once again, our thoughts go out to everyone affected by the disaster. Cool, and there you have it. That was our kind of timeline of the biggest stories of the year. As you can see, 2016 was pretty eventful in the football world. Some really amazing stories, some absolute heroes, but also on the flip side, some really shocking and truly harrowing stories as well. Let's just hope that next year the positives outweigh the negatives, no? But on to our heroes and villains of the year now. Starting with heroes. Start with heroes. Who would you like to?
First one is, well, there's a few, but you have to solely pick Ranieri for the Leicester win. The team was virtually the same as the one that came up and won the championship, but for an individual manager to come in and change the team, the mentality, the playing, the way he did, is just, you can't not mention him as one of the best people in football for the year.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, definitely a big hero.
He really went with the underdog persona as well. His history with Chelsea, Mourinho replacing him, all that, and finally getting his first Premier League trophy. Yeah,
it was a perfect year. Great character, great guy.
Yeah,
great catchphrases as well, and
dilly dong.
Proving that pizza is the food of champions.
It is, well, tell that's Pep Guardiola, right?
Yeah, he's banned it, hasn't he?
But also, another kind of big, more personal victory for ourselves, the Hampton and Richmond Borough side, who absolutely bossed it in the Ryman League last season, got promoted in May. Big star performances from Nicky Kabamba, Moussa Diarra, now sadly left, and of course Jamal Lowe. Big shout out to him. He's just moved to Portsmouth, starting there in January. Big move from the Conference South up to League Two. So absolute hero, and best of luck to you, Jamal. Who else have we got?
Well, you've got Alan Dowson within the Hampton Richmond. But I think that last year for Hampton Richmond was very special. We look to be potentially, it's looking the way that we could have the best ever team that Hampton Richmond's ever seen. Yeah. So from a personal local level, it's been a brilliant year. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant year.
Yeah, can't argue with that whatsoever. Back to the Premier League, Dimitri Payet, absolute
for club and country. Maybe not so much this half of the season, but I mean, last season, the way he personified how well West Ham were playing.
Yeah,
as
those
well.
free kicks.
So yeah, well, I mean, he's still doing it now as well as badly. Sorry, as West Ham have been, he is still performing at that consistent level.
Yeah.
And he did the same for France, and he showed how much he cared when he scored his first goal in the Euros. I mean, the emotion that poured out of him, he probably wanted to keep cool, but with those situations you can't.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not. And yeah, was an absolute star performer for France throughout the tournament. With the likes of Griezmann and Pogba, he really shone as well, which says a lot about the guy. Personal one for me, Marcus Rashford. Can't talk about 2016 without saying Marcus Rashford, absolute legend. Saved United season this season, saved Van Gaal's skin. Can't say much else. Has a bit again, like Payet was having a bit of a quieter season this year, but can't say much more. One of the great Man United stories. Let's hope it goes on into 2017.
I'm just going to throw one more out there, Iheanacho, because he's better than Rashford.
I've dreamed mate. I don't know, he might actually be better than, but yeah, still, Rashford's a local lad, so that's all I'm worried about.
No, Nigeria's not too far.
What with air travel and everything these days. Any other?
I think that's me done with heroes.
So on to villains.
Yeah, I think big one, Big Sam. I've already mentioned him. Absolute. Many words that could have been placed there, but we'll keep it calm and say fool.
Absolute fool. And the one thing annoyed me is that he actually could have done a good job with England.
Yeah,
he probably would have
we all
done.
wanted him there. That's the thing. We all wanted him there. He finally got there. We think, right, here comes some change. You see how he can dig teams out with Sunderland the year he had, and he goes and blows it straight away. So. Not in the good books.
Yeah.
Not in the good books.
And from Jekyll and Hyde award as well.
Yeah, Jekyll and Hyde
He
award.
went from hero at Sunderland to absolute villain at England. So another year to forget for England. And then we have one more villain, don't we?
Yeah.
Who just villain every year.
Yeah.
But
probably won't be next year, which would be good.
Well, hopefully.
The lingering fart that is Sepp Blatter.
Yeah.
He just won't go away.
He won't go away, even after being dethroned as FIFA president. He won't stop moaning, will he? He won't stop throwing out allegations and playing the victim. So
it's been nice and quiet relatively recently, but
as
I said, like a bad smell, we just won't go away.
Yeah. Let's hope he does completely go away in 2017.
So that was our heroes and villains of the year. We do have some honourable mentions on the screen for you right now. Some goals, goose, gaffes, all the funny bits from the year and bits that we enjoyed. Yeah, plenty of stuff to check out here. Hours of fun, or maybe rather minutes of fun. Please also check out the Football Pie blog, link in the description. I've just put up my mid-season review of Mourinho at Man United, so please check that out. Also the aforementioned Steven Gerrard, Growing Up with Steven Gerrard by our Liverpool correspondent Ahad Noor is still up on the blog. Please check out that as well. That is fantastic, and also all our other content, videos, live, podcast, all on there, so please check that out. And as always, if you could leave a like on this video, that would be brilliant. If you enjoy what we do, give us a subscribe so you can keep up to date with our videos. As I said before, give a look at our blog. We've got Twitter, we've got Facebook, we've got everything, to be fair. Got bloody everything. We've got bloody everything. But saying that, have a lovely Christmas. Hope you had a lovely Christmas. Lovely Christmas period. Have a lovely good new year. Starts here. Hope 2017 is a little bit better than 16. As I said, positive outweigh the negatives. That's always the way to go, really. And before then, we can drown our sorrows. So exactly. That's all right. Yeah. So have a good one, and we'll see you in the new year.